Part 40. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 391. Source of Nightmare Dungeon, Merchant Alliance Team. Level 8. At this moment, the Shang Wang and his team are facing a berserker with long red hair. When they reached here, the team only had the last 100 people left. Obviously, they also suffered a lot in the Arrow Rain Warrior, Siri level. After all, the Arrow Rain of the archers is instant, and they are a group of archers. A wave of Arrow Rain killed more than 100 of them. Next, Siri released infinite Arrow Rain like lightning, hitting them several times before the Shang Wang had time to stop it. Google searched Can. I believe we are now far ahead of Ye Shen and his team. Although we have lost 200 people and I am the only Holy Word mage left, we still have the advantage, Shang Wang smiled complacently. He is the Shang Alliance, and he must get the first kill. At this time, he locked his eyes on the red-haired berserker. Barbarian Bull Warrior Lungzhen, Lord. Level 55. HP 80000//8000000. Skills Savage Charge, Rage, Demon Slayer, Blood Baptism. Notes Heroic Personality in Luxen's Dream. Barbarian Bull Warrior? It seems to be a special effect warrior about Savage Charge, Jian Wuhan said silently. King Shang nodded and directly banned Savage Charge and Blood Baptism. This Blood Baptism is the Berserker's 55-level ultimate move, with a large range and high damage. King Shang also banned it. And the Holy Word Mage can usually only ban 2 skills at the same time. Damn it, you little rascals actually banned my Savage Charge and dared not confront me head-on, Luxen snorted. Hearing this, King Shang, Jian Wuhan and others just sneered. Are you kidding? Head-on confrontation? Rage. There was a tremor, and the heart of killing started to be violent, all attributes increased, and even a strange red light came out of his body. Kill. The heart of killing, the king of Shang and others roared almost at the same time, and then fought together. But soon, the heart of killing was killed by Jian Wuhan's sword. On the other side, Ye Chen and others were at the 5th level, and had just killed Zilli. At this moment, Ye Chen didn't know that the Business Alliance was already 3 levels ahead of them. We are really lucky. A special effect equipment exploded after a brush, and this time it was a rain of arrows. Laughter rang out, and everyone began to check the special effect equipment. Zilli's Dream Longbow, purple quality / suit. Level 50. Physical attack power 582 612. Strength add 80. Agility add 40. Special effect Arrow Rain LV add 2. Special effect Arrow Rain area add 30%. Special effect Arrow Rain attack speed add 10%. Special effect Arrow Rain damage add 50%. Special effect Arrow Rain CD -6 seconds. Note, this equipment cannot be traded. Uncle, how should we divide this equipment? Lan blinked and winked at Uncle Soy Sauce. Uncle Soy Sauce was a little overwhelmed. The girl said so and winked at him. As an old senior, he was embarrassed to compete with her. Obviously, among the special effect equipment, weapons have the largest increase. To be honest, Uncle Soy Sauce was a little jealous of the longbow, but he still smiled and said, "Let it go to you." Tisk tisk, Uncle, you are willing to give up such a good equipment? You don't want to take the opportunity to show your courtesy and let an old cow eat young grass, right? Big Fried Chicken laughed nonchalantly beside him, which immediately attracted everyone's laughter. Go to hell, Big Fried Chicken, I am a generous uncle. Lan glared at Big Fried Chicken unhappily, and then nodded to Uncle Soy Sauce to thank him. Big Fried Chicken and Lan, these two are still newcomers, but they have already risen and have a high position in the entire team and even in the Throne Guild. Compared with the old main players such as Tank, Huowu and Uncle Soy Sauce, they are not inferior at all, and even overshadow the old duck. and Big Fried Chicken is even more expected. The wings that Ye Chen exploded in Leng Tong's hands were given to Big Fried Chicken. Now Big Fried Chicken's strength can barely be regarded as a quasi-king. When he becomes a special effect warrior, he will be even stronger. Uncle Soy Sauce is quite pleased with this. This dream world is really extraordinary, with many ways to improve strength. It seems that I have to expose more strength, otherwise I will not look good if I am compared with this group of young people. Uncle Soy Sauce laughed at himself. Hurry up, we are afraid that we are far behind the Merchant Alliance, Ye Chen said coldly. The first kill reward is one aspect, and being snatched away by the enemy in your home field is very embarrassing. Soon, the large army marched to the 6th checkpoint. There was only one person, a calm-looking magic swordsman. Instant/warrior Lianhua, Lord. Level 55. HP 720000//7200000. Skill Instant/. Notes the heroic personality in Lianhua's dream. Another special effect warrior with a single skill. I'm afraid that the Merchant Alliance will pass it easily again landside. In the copy of Source of Nightmare, the advantage of the Holy Word Mage is really too great. Ha! Lianhua shouted in a deep voice, and his figure disappeared from the spot. When he appeared again, he had crossed a distance of 30 yards. This guy actually used Instant/ as a displacement skill. But it's normal, anyway, his Instant/ has no CD. Earthquake. Tank and several shield warriors activated their ultimate skills at the same time, and a strong vibration was generated in the area within a radius of 5 yards, and Lianhua accidentally fell into a dizzy state. Prediction, good job. Ye Chen smiled and attacked forcefully. The powerful force made Lianhua continue to be stiff. Throat/ and final blow. Kill. -369,020. With a puff, Lianhua's fragile throat was cut open, blood gushed out, and her HP was instantly reduced to residual blood. In the back, Uncle Soy Sauce, Lan, and others focused their fire from a distance and killed her instantly. Lianhua's death did not cause any special effect equipment to explode, which disappointed some magic swordsmen. There will be opportunities in the future, and we will continue to the next level quickly, Ye Chen said lightly. Then he continued to act. The 7th level was a dark wizard, who was a curse master. His curse had no CD, and in just a few seconds, it greatly weakened the attributes of Ye Chen, Tank, Big Fried Chicken and others. He was responsible for weakening, while the guards were responsible for output. Zayashyan. Of course, he did not stop Ye Chen. In less than a minute, Ye Chen killed him, and the storm of destruction also took away the guards in one wave. Next, it was the red-haired berserker heart killing. That savage collision once again consumed a wave of the team. When Ye Chen killed him, there were only 150 people left in the team. The 9th level, which was also the second to last level. There were actually 2 special effect warriors in this level, one boy and one girl. The girl was wearing a blue robe and was an ice mage. The boy was wearing a red robe and was a fire mage. Another fire mage, everyone was shocked. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 392. By now playing The Origin of Nightmares, everyone has figured out some of the tricks. *w.simon.law. Any special effects warrior has a chance to break out a special effects suit. There has been a fire spell before, and the special effects warrior it belongs to is the powerful fire dragon Po. Now another fire spell appeared, and it seemed to be more powerful, which made everyone sigh. Especially for tanks and other shield warriors, the fire mage can produce 2 types of special effects warriors in one copy, but they can only produce one shield warrior, which is a useless shield warrior. Why can't I discern their skills? Suddenly, a voice sounded, making everyone startled and suspicious, and they all raised their eyes and glanced over. Holy Magician N, Lord. Level 55. HP 50000//5000000. Skill. Notes on the heroic personality in Anne's dream. Holy Magician, Dragon Training, Lord. Level 55. HP 52000//5200000. Skill. Note the heroic personality in Pelong's dream. Holy Magician. Everyone suffocated. Obviously, everyone was frightened by this prefix, but it was not difficult to find that these two young men, a boy and a girl, were only level 55, and they were only at the Lord level. The Holy Magician does not live up to his name. But why can't we discern skills? There are some people who are highly recognizable among the people, but they can't discern the skills, which makes them very confused. Ye Chen said, if the opponent's level is high enough, we won't be able to discern anything if we don't have enough recognition. But now, the only possibility is that they have level 60 or even higher skills. Ye Chen smiled bitterly. These two people were not special effects warriors, but young men who loved to dream. In the dream, they had level 80 skills. Meteor and Fire Shower. Absolute Zero. Suddenly, a cold drink sounded. In an instant, there was an extremely high temperature energy and an extremely cold energy. When these two kinds of energy came out, everyone seemed to be trapped in the polar opposites of ice and fire. Quick, jump up. Even in a dream, the magic of the Holy Realm is not instantaneous, so Yuchen took the opportunity to roar. But after yelling, he smiled bitterly, and no matter if he jumped up, most of them probably couldn't bear it. But everyone still jumped up, and Yuchen even activated flying, fighting spirit, and domination. Suddenly, Anne's Absolute Zero was activated first. Absolute cold air was generated at the soles of her feet, and then spread to the surroundings at a terrifying speed. Every inch of the ground turned into ice, and some small pebbles and debris were everywhere. The bricks were frozen and turned directly into powder. In the blink of an eye, the entire hall's floor, walls, and even the top floor turned into ice. The whole thing looks like an ice palace, exuding endless cold air. Everyone jumped up and looked at the ice palace and the cold air in the ice palace. They couldn't help but tremble. Time seemed to freeze. At the same time, Pelong also finished singing, and dense sparks flashed in the sky, and then quickly fell down. In the blink of an eye, those sparks turned into huge flints, which rained down densely with terrifying high temperatures, covering the sky and the earth. Ah! There were screams, some were directly smashed to death, and some were not killed by a hit. They were smashed down and fell on the ice. The Absolute Zero instantly froze them into ice cubes, then broke them, and they were still killed instantly. I forgot that there are these two freaks in this copy, Ye Che said with a wry smile on his face. Even if it is a rain of meteors and fire, Yuchen is not afraid, especially because the hegemonic body makes it impossible for Flint to knock it down. That way, he doesn't have to endure the terrifying temperatures of Absolute Zero. But others were either killed instantly by meteors and fire showers, or were dropped and killed instantly by Absolute Zero. In less than 3 seconds, the entire team except Ye Chen was wiped out. 3 seconds later, the two sacred magics were released, and the hall returned to its original appearance. I'm afraid the Merchant Alliance can't bear these two freaks, right? Ye Chen seemed to have found a balance and smiled. In fact, the Merchant Alliance team has been completely wiped out on the 9th floor. Although they are powerful, they have no experience. When I came to the 9th floor, I couldn't discern the attributes of Annie and Pelong. I felt bad, and the Holy Word Mage immediately started reading. However, reading is not instant and requires a certain amount of preparation time. The Shangmeng himself is the Holy Word Mage. He has just read out 2 Holy Realm magics, and before he can silence them, the other party has already released them. In seconds. King Shang and others looked depressed, but they had not given up yet. After one failure, they gained more experience. Immediately challenged again, this time, they came to the 6th level again. Sister, someone actually managed to withstand our holy domain magic. Pylon, Annie, and others looked at Yuchen holding the snake wings in mid-air, their faces full of horror. They were not special effects warriors. After the holy domain magic was released, they immediately fell into a long vacuum period. Yuchen rushed forward and killed the two siblings in less than a minute. Because they were not special effects warriors, they did not break out any special effects equipment. Yuchen quickly cleaned up the loot and entered the last level. At this moment, Yuchen had no idea that the Merchant Alliance was completely wiped out at the holy magic level. He thought he was lagging behind, so he was seizing every minute and second. Coming to the last level, it turned out to be a dark domain with a dark attribute enhancement. Of course, this is useless to Yuchen. In the center of the black domain, stood alone an arrogant necromancer. Captain of the Black Knight Xian, Golden Lord. Level 58. HP 320000//320000. Skill Black Knight Summon. Note Xian's heroic personality in his dream. Taste the power of my Black Knights. Xian seemed extremely confident. As soon as he raised his staff, two black teleportation arrays appeared at his feet. Not long after, two strong Black Knights emerged separately. Black Knight, Lord. Level 68. HP 125000///125000. Skill Black Gun, Ride, War Trampling. As we all know, the reason why necromancers are so powerful is that they play the human wave tactics. In general, the undead they summon are of the same level as themselves, and they win by numbers. But this Sci-fi can't use other summons, only the Black Knight. But his Black Knight is actually level 68, with attack power, defense, speed, and even dark attribute enhancement, which is obviously very powerful. Moreover, the general necromancer can only summon one Black Knight at most, but Sci-fi summon two at a time. Hee, it's not over yet. I, Xian, am the captain of the Black Knights. How can there be only two Black Knights? Xian smiled proudly, and cast two black teleportation arrays again, and then two strong Black Knights appeared. Secondary, dreaming boy Yuchen curled his lips. 015. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 393. The Black Knight wears black armor, holds a knight's spear, and rides on an undead horse. Their cold eyes and powerful aura prove that they are very powerful. 4 level 68 lords. Yuchen's eyes flickered. He knew that this Xian would definitely summon more than 4 Black Knights, the limit should be 10. When he thought of this, Yuchen immediately didn't dare to neglect and rushed over like lightning. Flying Thunder God. Yuchen stepped on the dart and broke through the Black Knight's defense. He came close to Xian and then took action violently. Xian was not afraid. In the dream, he was the Golden Lord with 3.2 million HP. How could it be so easy to be killed? What's more, there is a Black Knight beside him. Sap. Spin Stab. Killer. Minus 320,050. Shadow Attack. Powerful Attack. Pierce the Heart. Minus 576,020. Yuchen completed a set of combos in 3 seconds, extremely smoothly. Xia lost millions of HP at once. Xia continued to freeze, his head tilted back, and his body retreated step by step uncontrollably, completely powerless to resist. But the Black Knights moved, and 3 seconds was enough for them to rush into Yuchen. Black gun. In an instant, a black whirlwind surged out of the spears in the hands of the Black Knights. Like a spiral gun, it stabbed Yuchen, causing sparks to appear. -920. -920. -920. -920. Yuchen's domineering body and LV2 fighting spirit. At this stage, most people can't break through the defense, but this Black Knight can still deal such damage. It's really not easy. Bloody blade. Yuchen didn't care about the Black Knight at all. After all, even if he killed him, Xian would immediately summon a new Black Knight. Taking advantage of Sai Ya's current state of stiffness, Ye Chen locked on and attacked furiously. 5 seconds passed quickly, and Ye Chen's domineering body disappeared. War tramples. The Black Knights controlled the undead war horses, causing them to raise their front hooves, roar, and then slam them down. -2520. -2520. -2520. -2520. 4 huge injuries appeared at the same time, and Yuchen's HP dropped to the bottom in an instant, leaving only a trace of residual blood. At the same time, he was blasted away by the war trampling. Obviously, the Black Knight is very powerful and has the effects of freezing and knocking him away. This is level suppression. What a terrible captain of the Black Knight. Without the Holy Word Mage, it would be really difficult. Ye Chen was blown away and landed 5 yards later. He was frozen for a second before recovering. Looking at the Black Knight, he couldn't help but sigh. There are so many special effects warriors, why is this Black Knight captain the final boss? This proves from the side that the official also recognizes the strength of the Black Knight captain. If a necromancer becomes the captain of the Black Knights, his combat power will be extremely terrifying. He can summon 10 Black Knights, and each Black Knight is 10 levels higher than himself. He will basically crush anyone he faces. Of course, even if an average player becomes the captain of the Black Knights, their MP is not enough to support 10 Black Knights. But the Soul Harvest skill is enough to make up for it. And the Black Knight captain in front of him, Xian, is the Golden Lord, and his HP and MP are very strong. Supporting 10 Black Knights at the same time is no problem at all. Grandma, you almost killed me. On the other side, Xian was also horrified. In just a few seconds, he was slashed by 1,000,000 HP by Ye Chen. He was stiffened by the circulation just now, and the feeling of weakness made him tremble. At this moment, he no longer held back. His face darkened, and he launched the black teleportation array again, summoning 2 Black Knights at once without cooling down. A few seconds later, 10 tall and powerful Black Knights stood in front of him. Now, he wanted to see how Ye Chen could break through. Self-recovery. Ye Chen casually took out a pacifier and held it in his mouth. HP at 50%. In an instant, half of the blood volume was restored, and the LV2 fighting spirit did not dare to be cancelled. If I cancel my fighting spirit, any of these Black Knights can probably kill me instantly with one shot. A drop of cold sweat trickled down his forehead, and Ye Chen couldn't help but darken his face. Even though he has fighting spirit and his defense ability has doubled or tripled, Ye Chen still has no sense of security. The Black Knight itself is very strong, and now he is in the Dark Realm, with increased dark strength and even more levels of suppression. Sometimes the level is suppressed. 1 or 2 levels are nothing, but the Black Knight is level 68, while Ye Chen is only level 55. The difference is obvious. Hegemony, we must wait for hegemony, Ye Chen said in deep thought. Facing 10 Black Knights, Ye Chen didn't dare to charge at all and could only wait for the hegemonic body. At that moment, Ye Chen raised his head and knocked down a bottle of intermediate mental stimulation potion to shorten the cooling time of each skill, of course, mainly the cooling time of breaking martial arts. Then, Xiaohei also understood the current situation and rushed out. With this rush, Ye Chen was surprised to find that Xiaohei broke through the 20-yard limit distance between him and himself, and doubled it to 40 yards. Okay, Xiaohei, he's getting better and better, Ye Chen said happily. This little black is a shadow, possessing all the attributes of its master. Its strength also depends on its master. Ye Chen is so powerful that he can be regarded as an achievement of Xiaohei. If ordinary people had Xiaohei, they might not be able to reach Ye Chen's current height. Of course, Ye Chen also relied on Xiaohei to reach where he is now. The relationship between them is mutually beneficial. In addition, Xiaohei has all the attributes of Ye Chen. It also has room for growth. For example, at the beginning, it could only keep a distance of 10 yards from Ye Chen at most, but now, the maximum distance between the two sides has reached 40 yards. There is also the skill instant transfer. At the beginning, Xiaohei needed a 30-minute cooldown. Now, it only takes 10 minutes. Is Xiaohei considered an evolution this time? Will the cooldown time of instant transfer be further reduced? Or, has it learned other skills? Ye Chen thought to himself. But this is obviously not the time to figure out Xiaohei's ability. At the critical moment, attack Xian first. Black Knight, charge, Xian roared, the Black Knights squeezed their horses' bellies, the undead warhorse neighed, and Zhejianko rushed out. Xian had been reduced by 1,000,000 HP by Ye Chen before, and now he is also wretched. He only sent 6 Black Knights to charge, and the remaining 4 stayed to protect himself. Ye Chen flapped his snake wings and flew up directly, while Xiaohei quietly touched Sai Ya and beat him up. Sai Ya was a little confused for a moment. What the hell, now there is no ghost beside me except the Black Knight, who dares to hit me? The 4 Black Knights were also confused when they saw their master screaming. Xiaohei's output is not low, it's not like he didn't know how to combo before, now his skills are very smooth. Sai Ya's HP dropped straight down. Xiaohei alone can't make Sai Ya cycle stiff, only occasionally, but he also beat Sai Ya to scream. He wanted to run, but he couldn't even see the enemy, how could he run? QBQ 520. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 394. Xiaohei's output alone is 15,000 with one sword, 40,000 to 60,000 with skills, and more than 150,000 with his finishing move. Under the violent slashing, Xian's health plummeted. The Black Knights stared at Ye Chen in the sky with cold eyes, but they were helpless. It's good to have wings to fly and let Xiaohei attack from below. It's good to defeat the boss like this. Ye Chen smiled slightly. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. With nothing to do, Ye Chen changed into his 1000 machine fan and fired darts at Xian to speed up the output. 1000 Needles Massacre. Suddenly, countless flying needles appeared in front of Ye Chen, shooting downwards very densely. After a wave of attacks, Xian's HP was deducted by more than 30,000. This kind of damage is not much for Ye Chen, but don't forget that 1000 Needle Slaughter is only level 1 now. If the level becomes higher, the damage will be terrifying. Haha, Xian only has less than 500,000 HP left, what happened to the Merchant Alliance? It couldn't be that it was destroyed by the group. It seems that the first kill is guaranteed. Seeing Sai Ya jumping to his feet anxiously but with a helpless expression, Ye Chen was in a good mood and laughed out loud. On the other side, the Business Alliance. With the experience from the previous game, Shang Wang led the team to the 9th floor with almost no injuries. Meteor shower? Absolute zero? Directly banned. Sister, my sacred magic can't be released, Pilong said depressedly. Mine too, Annie smiled bitterly. Gather the fire, King Shang shouted, and the whole group gathered fire, killing the 2 siblings instantly, and then rushed to the 10th floor. Seeing the incoming army, Xian quickly summoned the Black Knight, but the Holy Word Mage immediately banned the Black Knight summoning. The next moment, the two mighty Black Knights that had just appeared turned into mist and dispersed. This. Xia was stunned. He doesn't have any skills other than the summoning of the Black Knight. Haha, kill him. The Golden Lord doesn't even have a single skill, he doesn't count, King Shang roared, and the 300 troops behind him charged fiercely, surrounding Xia and beating him violently. Xian had no power to resist, and his health plummeted. Yeshen, this is the second one, but you still can't beat me, King Shang smiled confidently. However, Yunlong City broadcast congratulations to the player Yeshen, Tank, Big Fried Chicken, Hongming Soy Sauce, Lan, for completing the first kill of the Source of Nightmares, and received an additional reward of add 78 million experience points, 5 gold coins, and 2 skill points. Team leader Yeshen will be awarded an additional 1 skill point. My day. Just a few seconds. When the announcement of the first kill sounded, Xian here was surrounded by 300 troops and had only a trace of health left. This situation made it even more painful for King Shang, Jian Wuhan, and the Bloody Egg to shoot. The movements of the 300 troops were also suffocated. What a bully! When Xiao He killed Xian, the 10 Black Knights also died. As the Golden Lord, Xian was killed for the first time at this moment, and a large number of items were revealed, including a piece of gold quality special effects equipment. Xia's Dream Robe, gold quality / set. Level 55. Equipment type cloth armor. Physical defense add 720. Intelligence add 120. Spirit add 132. Dark attribute enhancement add 50. Dark attribute resistance add 150. Special effect Black Knight summon LV add 1. Special effects Black Knight summon CD-3 seconds. The maximum number of Black Knights summoned by special effects is add 1. Special effect Black Knight damage add 30%. Note, this item is not tradable. It is also a special effects equipment, but the special effects equipment of Captain Black Knight is of gold quality. Not to mention the powerful special effects, its foundation is also frighteningly high, and it even increases dark power and dark resistance. If the Necromancer becomes the captain of the Black Knight, he can definitely be rampant all the way to level 80, Yechen sighed secretly. He was not a Necromancer, and it was useless to ask for the Black Knight suit, but he picked it up anyway, and he still wanted to do an experiment. After cleaning up the loot, Yechen exited the dungeon. The next moment, Yechen, Tank, Big Fried Chicken, Lan, and others appeared outside the dungeon at the same time. It wasn't Gormo's room, but in the luxurious courtyard. This Gormer was a nobleman after all, and his mansion was not small. And the entire mansion was shrouded in a layer of black mist. The black hole is getting bigger. Almost at the same time, white light flashed around them, and Shang Wang and others also came out after completing the copy. Haha, the first kill was ours. Didn't you just finish the fight? Just a few seconds too slow. It's really sad. Seeing the livid faces of the people from the Merchant Alliance, Tank smiled. His smile caused the whole room in the throne room to burst into laughter. As if adding fuel to the fire, the faces of the people in the Merchant Alliance became more and more gloomy. King Shang looked at the black mist above his head and was startled. What's going on? Obviously, you won't need your so-called holy bell to clear this dungeon in the future, Yechen sneered. Not only does the black hole get bigger, but it is also displayed directly. Players do not need to wait for Gormer to sleep peacefully when they refresh the dungeon. Because of this, the holy bell that King Shang worked so hard to obtain was of no use at all. To be honest, Yechen felt quite regretful. He originally thought there would be a hidden mission here, but who knew there wasn't. As soon as the first kill appeared, the black hole immediately became larger. However, he regretted that King Shang almost went berserk. Forget about being robbed for the first kill, you worked so hard to get the holy bell, but in the end, it gave the light camp an advantage? King Shang's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot, and he glanced at Ye Chen gloomily. Don't be complacent, this is just the beginning. After speaking, he waved his hand, and the entire team crushed the teleportation stone and left. It's so exciting. Who would have thought that we could beat the Merchant Alliance? Haha, it seems that our throne has also reached the top giant guild. As soon as the Merchant Alliance left, everyone became lively and overjoyed. What kind of monster is the Business Alliance? What is the level of the Merchant Alliance team? That is definitely one of the best in the entire Chinese theater. Now, they have grown to such an extent that even the Business Alliance dare not underestimate them, which is of course exciting. But Yuchen ignored the noise around him. He took out the Xian's dream robe by himself. It was cloth armor and he couldn't wear it. The reason why I picked it up was because I wanted to do an experiment. There is no doubt that special effects fighters are awesome, but in his previous life, Ye Chen rarely saw special effects fighters. Why? Because special effects suits generally only have level 50, a few special effects suits such as Giro Warrior and Black Knight Captain also only have level 55. In the later stages, the basics cannot keep up, and they will be eliminated naturally. This is not harmonious, but is automatically eliminated as players level up. However, in this life, Yuchen possesses blacksmithing skills. The blacksmithing technique cannot be used on the Hell suit. Is it possible to use this special effect equipment? Yuchen suppressed the excitement in his heart and used the blacksmithing technique on Xian's dream robe, and it was successful. If your blacksmithing skill is successful in the system, the level of Xian's dream robe will be add 5, and the blacksmithing skill will gain 1200 proficiency points. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 395. It actually succeeded. Ye Chen was startled, and he didn't believe it. *w.simon.law. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Special effects suit can be upgraded using blacksmithing. What does this mean? This means that Beyblade Warrior, Ultimate Warrior, Iron Warrior, Wind Warrior, Yuchen can play all the time. If you keep following the level, are you still worried about your low base? Indeed, special effect suits are generally purple suits. Even if they are of the same level, their basics cannot keep up with gold equipment, let alone holy weapons. But the special effects warrior is too strong, and this basic point can completely make up for it. Well. On the side, Tank and others also looked over and were immediately ecstatic when they discovered that Ye Chen had upgraded the special effects equipment. At their level, of course they know what upgrading special effects equipment means. This version is the version of the special effects warrior, but obviously, the special effects warrior can only be rampant when it reaches more than 60, and then it will wither. After all, the basics are not up to scratch. Tank smiled and said, but if the special effects equipment can be upgraded, that's another story. Wait a minute, this isn't right. Boss Ye Chen has the forging technique, which can upgrade special effects equipment, but what about us? After all, special effects suits cannot be traded, Big Fried Chicken said. It was like pouring cold water on the tank from head to toe, and the excitement instantly cooled down. Yes, special effects equipment cannot be traded, so I am the only one who can follow the level of this special effects warrior. Play all the way to the end. Ye Chen patted Tank's shoulder and smiled. Obviously, the blacksmithing technique cannot be used on others. Hey, I'm so happy for nothing. Tank smiled bitterly. The current version is the special effects warrior version. After a small episode, everyone's originally extremely excited mood became a little depressed. After all, they originally thought that the special effects equipment could be upgraded, but now it is only suitable for Yuchen. Even if they become special effects warriors, they will be eliminated later. However, This does not affect everyone's current enthusiasm for special effects warriors. You can only play the Origin of Nightmares once a day. It would be a huge loss for 500 of us to play it together. Even if there is a special effects package, many people can't get a share. Lansu held her delicate chin with her hand and muttered, "The more special effects warriors there are, the stronger the team will be. I think we should do dungeons separately in the future. The first level is Gyro Warrior. The second level is the Fire Dragon Warrior. The third level is the Healing Master. The fourth level is the Shield Warrior. The fifth floor, Warriors of Arrow Rain. The sixth level, instantly kills the warrior. The seventh floor, Curse Mage. The eighth floor, the Bull Warrior. The ninth level, the Holy Magician, is not a special effects warrior and can be ignored. The 10th floor, Captain of the Black Knight. The Source of Nightmares has a total of 10 levels. Except for the 9th level Holy Magician, the rest are special effects warriors. They all have a chance to explode special effects equipment. Rogue, Fire Mage, Priest, Shield Warrior, Archer, Magic Swordsman, Dark Mage, Berserker. Lan said, "Our guild doesn't seem to have a necromancer, so the above 8 professions are a group. Of course, adding an ice spell will do. Anyway, they don't have special effect equipment in this dungeon, so it won't cause embarrassment in distribution. It's okay to help control the wave." Hearing this, everyone agreed. Although it is simple to clear a dungeon with a large group of 500 people, only a few special effects equipment will be exploded in total, and sometimes they will not even be exploded. The main force was gone, and everyone else could only watch helplessly. After all, the dungeon could only be refreshed once a day. Especially Lan, she already owns a Rain of Arrows longbow and is very concerned about the so-called Rain of Arrows warriors. She didn't want to share it with anyone. At the same time, she also knew that Uncle Soy Sauce, as well as many other archers, aspired to become arrow warriors. Especially Uncle Soy Sauce, he is senior and strong, so she, Lan, would feel bad if he kept giving in. "But sister, what you said is quite simple. 8 people, including ice magicians and musketeers, there are only 10 people. 10 people clear the dungeon. Apart from us, the main force, who else can clear it? Big Bang Chicken Road." "Yes, brother Fried Chicken is right. Except for the boss, you can pass, but we can't." Everyone also nodded. After all, the special effects warriors are still strong. With one skill, they can instantly kill a group of ordinary players. Especially the 2 holy magicians on the 9th floor. Although they were not special effect warriors, but with the magic of the Holy Realm, at that time, except for Yechen, the entire group was wiped out. "If we add a Holy Word Mage, we can do it," Yechen said suddenly. After playing it once, everyone is very familiar with the Source of Nightmares. If there is a Holy Word Mage, just ban it and it will be completely unobstructed. Even for ordinary players, the grinding process is a little slower, but they can definitely pass it. In fact, in the impression of Yechen in his previous life, players developed such a team for the Origin of Nightmares. "I am the Holy Word Mage. I am the master of the Source of Nightmares. I have 5 silver coins per person. It's fast. When the crowd is full, I'll drive. I am a level 88 Holy Domain Master. I can acquire the Source of Nightmares in seconds. I get 8 silver coins per person, and the speed is increased." Don't repeat professions. Such shouts still seem to be echoing in Yechen's ears. In his previous life, Yechen entered the game 2 years late. At that time, there were as many so-called masters of the Holy Realm as dogs. There are very few new players. Even low-level players are mostly game enthusiasts who deleted their accounts and played again. So everyone is very familiar with this copy. The masters of the Holy Domain return to brush the level 50 copy. Of course, it is a second time zone. and Holy Word Mage, even if he is at the same level, is qualified to take people for a fee. One can imagine how restrained the Holy Word Mage was against this copy. Past life returns to past life. Now, the mainstream players of Dream World are only over level 40. Yechen is special. He got a lot of first kills of country lords at once. His current level is 55. Even tanks and others are only at level 50-51. It is conceivable that after half a month, the mainstream players' troops will also rise to level 50 or above. At that time, the origin of nightmares will definitely be extremely popular. They will definitely follow the same routine as in their previous lives, forming a team to clear copies to avoid embarrassment in equipment distribution. At that time, the Holy Word Mage can collect money and lead people. Whenever I think of my past life, I felt excited every time I used a Giro Warrior special effects equipment, as well as the affirmation and blessings of a group of low-end players. Yechen felt inexplicably warm in his heart. It's a pity that he can no longer experience it now. When he reaches this level, his mentality becomes calm and detached. Even if the artifact is revealed in the later stage, I am afraid that he will not have the same feeling as before. The strong have their own loneliness. I plan to recruit a group of Holy Word Mages. In this case, everyone can be divided into small teams and quickly clear the dungeon, Yechen said with a smile. 015. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 396. Hearing this, everyone was ecstatic. Simon. La. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. With the Holy Word Mage, they can form a team and definitely clear the dungeon. At most, it will take a little longer, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, you can only clear one dungeon a day, and there is no time limit. Since they can clear the dungeon, the next step is luck. After all, special effect equipment is not guaranteed to explode every time. The later it is, the occasional duplicate is very annoying. There is nothing else, it depends purely on luck. Whoever becomes a special effect warrior first will be awesome. Looking at the smiles on everyone's faces, Yechen was also quite relieved. Yechen had long been jealous of the profession of Holy Word Mage, and now he just took this opportunity to recruit a wave of them. Thinking of this, Yechen spent 50,000 yuan to make a broadcast. Broadcast of the Light Camp Initiator. Yechen, the entire camp is recruiting Holy Word Mages, no requirements, as long as they are Holy Word Mages. The treatment is excellent. If you are interested, please contact me directly. Today, Yechen has tens of millions of assets. Although he is not a local tyrant, he is also a big shot. Spending 50,000 yuan to make a broadcast is not stressful at all, not to mention recruiting powerful Holy Word Mages. Within 3 minutes of the broadcast, Yechen received countless friend requests and countless private chats. The champion of the Light Camp in the martial arts tournament and the president of the Giant Guild throne, Yechen has become the most popular person in the entire Light Camp. The influence is explosive. Just making a broadcast can cause a huge sensation. Regarding the friend request, Yechen just smiled and ignored it, and then he started to read the private chats one by one. Master Ye, you are my idol. I hope you can represent our bright camp and win the championship in the national competition. Brother, what is the profession of the Holy Word Mage? Can you reveal the strategy? Don't worry, I will definitely help you do a good job if I become a Holy Word Mage. Master Ye, do you have a girlfriend? My cousin is so beautiful. Husband Ye, I am willing to give birth to a baby for you. The corners of Yechen's mouth twitched, and he read through the messages one by one, feeling his head as big as a bucket, and cold sweats broke out. What the hell is going on? I am recruiting holy word mages. There is not even one? Even though he was speechless, Yechen still patiently scrolled down. He read thousands of messages in 10 minutes, but they were all nonsense. When Yechen was about to give up, Tank sent a message instead. Yo, a holy word mage contacted me here. Hee, that kid must be very smart. He knew that the boss had a lot of information, so he turned to contact you. Tank Big Fried Chicken laughed. Well, that kid has an active mind and can be cultivated. Uncle Soy Sauce, Lan, and other main players also laughed. Aside, Tank also reached out and touched his chin coquettishly, sighing, hey, he couldn't contact the boss, so he contacted me immediately. It seems that my Tank's popularity is also quite popular. Tank called Yechen's name directly in reality, and even occasionally called him Ziokenza. In the game, because it was inconvenient to call his real name, he was too lazy to change his words, so he just learned to call the boss together. Of course, in the eyes of everyone, he and Yechen were of the same generation. Go to hell, have some shamelessness. Fatty laughed and scolded. Soon, the holy word mage who contacted Tank came in front of everyone. He was a lively young man with black hair, and his ID was quite rakish. Lai Amang. Hello, bosses. As soon as he came up, Lai Amang greeted Yechen, Tank, and others with a smile. This immediately made everyone have a better impression of him. Lan glanced at Yechen. One holy word mage is far from enough. Yechen smiled. One is enough then. Yechen looked at Lai Amang again and said, our guild needs a large number of holy word mages. I hope you can sell me the job transfer strategy. In the previous life, when Yechen entered Dream World, all kinds of high-level players were flying around, and many players even deleted their accounts and started over. At that time, the so-called strategies were not worth much at all, and many kind-hearted people shared them for free. There were strategies for various dungeons, strategies for various hidden tasks, and even job transfer strategies for various hidden professions. But in the previous life, Yechen rarely involved. After all, he was just a weakling in his previous life, and he couldn't even play a thief. How could he think about the job transfer strategy of the hidden profession? Now, the hidden profession is as rare as a national treasure. Scarcity makes things valuable, and it is normal to sell strategies for money. 500,000 RMB, as long as your strategy is effective, I will transfer it to you immediately, Yechen added. For him, 500,000 is not a small amount, but high investment, high return. With a job transfer strategy, Yechen can train a large number of holy word mages. The so-called investment will be earned back in the future. The job transfer strategy of the holy word mage. Lu Mang touched the back of his head and smiled, and actually said directly, it's actually very simple. Find the old man, the high priest of Bayun City, brush up your favorability, brush until he smiles at you, he will issue you a task when it's almost done. Yechen was stunned. He knew the high priest, who was a master of the holy domain. But he didn't expect that a job transfer task for a hidden profession would be issued so easily. At this time, everyone looked at Lu Mang with envy in their hearts. He made 500,000 yuan just by saying a few words. However, Lu Mang said, it's not a matter of selling or not, Boss Yechen, I came here just to hang out with you guys, eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks, I'm honored to be able to help. When he said this with a smile, everyone's favorability increased immediately. They thought to themselves that this guy is not simple, no wonder he can boost the favorability of the stubborn high priest to the point that he smiles at you. Haha, the young man is good. Tank patted Lu Mang's shoulder and laughed. However, Lu Mang said again, this hidden profession is always rare. Zhexian.co I suspect that the planner deliberately controlled the number of hidden professions and limited the quota. I guess, even if the favorability of the high priest is boosted, it will take a certain period of time to receive the job transfer task. For example, 1 per week. Hearing this, everyone nodded, and Yechen also nodded. Hidden professions are powerful after all. If there is no limit on the number, all players will be hidden professions, then what's the point of playing? In fact, Dream World is very strict in controlling hidden professions. For example, it takes a month to upgrade to a hidden profession such as Assassin, Fire Controller, Ice Controller, etc., and only the leader of the Alliance is eligible to change the profession. Only one a month, how many people a year? Of course, it is divided into camps. The whole country, or even the whole world, is another matter, but it is still rare. For a single hidden profession, the number may be relatively relaxed, but it will never be popular. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 397. Whether it's one or several per week, it's always right to boost the favorability of the High Priest and make him smile. WW Sim La. Yechen smiled and said to the large group, "How about it? Everyone who is interested in changing jobs to Holy Word Mages can take action now." Hearing this, several people immediately crushed the teleportation stone and went over. Everyone knows how powerful the Holy Word Mages are. Ordinary players who change jobs to Holy Word Mages are likely to be reused. Of course, most people like a certain profession when playing games. It can even rise to the issue of faith. No matter how strong other professions are, many people are unwilling to give up their favorite professions. Well, there are only 3 people. It doesn't matter. Let them take the lead. If someone successfully changes jobs, send more people, Yechen thought. The problem of the lack of Holy Word Mages in the throne has been initially solved with the addition of Lu Mang. Of course, it won't be long before more people change jobs to Holy Word Mages. And Lu Mang, as the first person, he was fortunate to join the main team directly. For Source of Nightmare, everyone should form a team. There are not enough Holy Word Mages for the time being, so let's first make sure we can clear it, Yechen said to everyone. He also said this in the guild channel. Obviously, no matter who you are, as long as you become a special effect warrior, you are qualified to become a main member. You don't necessarily need an extreme special effect warrior. To be honest, the extreme is too difficult, and you may not be able to reach it even if you persist in brushing for a month or 2. And ordinary special effect warriors, on the basis of intermediate mental stimulation elixir, 4-5 pieces are enough. Of course, there are far from enough Holy Word Mages now, and the so-called 10-man team is unrealistic. Except for Yechen or Lu Mang leading the team, ordinary elite members can't clear it. Then we can only form a 30-man team. To be honest, even if it is a 30-man team, many teams probably can't clear it. We can only say that we can clear as many layers as we can, which is good. After all, many things in this world are not as simple as imagined, and there is no way to achieve it in one go. We can only take it step by step. Of course, Yechen's main team has been established. The first level Giro warrior, Yechen. The second level Fire Dragon warrior, Huo Wu. The third level Healing Master, Xiaoro. The fourth level Shield warrior, Tank, although he disdains shield warriors. The fifth level Arrow Rain warrior, Lan. The sixth level Instant Slash warrior, the seventh level Curse Mage, a magic swordsman, and a dark mage. There are no particularly strong ones in the entire throne for these 2 professions, so they just picked 2 lucky guys. The 8th level Bull warrior, Fatty. The 9th and 10th levels are ignored. And Big Fried Chicken, Lu Mang, and Musketeers Injao were also named to join the main team. The main team has been established, with only 11 people for the time being. In the future, Yechen will brush the Source of Nightmares once a day, and strive to get a few special effect warriors as quickly as possible. The Merchant Alliance has come to the light camp, so we should go to the neutral camp to do something, right? Tank laughed. Everyone got excited after hearing this. Special effect warriors are not only found in the light camp. In fact, the dark camp and the neutral camp both produce special effect warriors in level 50 dungeons, and they are of different types. They are most excited about shield warriors such as tanks. After all, they look down on shield warriors, so they want to continue exploring to see if there are others. Okay, let's set off immediately. Ye Chen nodded, and the army was teleported to Lake Guang City and arrived at the port of Zhihaixia. The Death Forest connects the level 30 main cities of the Light and Dark camps, so Longyang City and Dark City are called fortresses. But it does not connect to the neutral camp. So if you want to go to the neutral camp, you have to take the sea route and set off from Zhihaixia. The ship-shaped base of the throne is still in the second stage of the sea safety zone, so Ye Chen summoned several advanced ships, and the members of the group boarded them one by one, and then the fleet set off, aiming at the neutral camp. Because this large area of sea is only the territory of island number 1, and there is only one great white shark. The fleet went all the way, but did not encounter the great white shark. After an hour of driving, it arrived at the LV4 main city of the neutral camp. Go to the LV5 main city, Ye Chen said. The purpose of their entry into the neutral camp is to brush the level 50 dungeon, so it is meaningless to build a base in the LV4 main city. The army continued to advance and ran wildly in the wild area of the neutral camp. It's the people of the dark camp. They are so brave that they dare to come to our neutral camp to make trouble. Brothers, kill them. The players who were brushing the wild saw Ye Chen and others rushing around in their territory, and they were immediately angry and rushed out one after another. At the same time, the green names above their heads instantly turned red. This means hostility. You know, the real mortal enemies are only light and darkness. The two sides fight, and the winner wins merit. The loser will lose merit. The neutral camp is very special. Every player can have his own position. They can choose to help the light camp or the dark camp, and they can change at any time. In this way, it is actually the most advantageous for them to earn merits. Meet a player from the light camp. Oh, then I believe in the dark camp, I will kill you. Meet a player from the dark camp. Oh, then I believe in the light camp, I will still kill you. Of course, since they chose the neutral camp, most people are pacifists. They can swing between the light camp and the dark camp and not help anyone. In this way, if players from the light camp or the dark camp kill them, not only will they not get any merit, but their sin value will increase. In short, it is advantageous for players in the neutral camp to gain merit. It is also possible to experience the game leisurely. This is their advantage. And the people Ye Chen and others met at this moment are obviously warmongers. Cut us? Looking for death? Ye Chen sneered, and the faces of the 500-man army also became ferocious. This is only a 4th level wild area. Most of the players are over level 40, and Ye Chen and others are at an average level of 50. Brothers, kill them. A group of 40-level trash actually threatened to cut us? Are they turning the world upside down? Tank roared, and in that roar, he turned into a pitch-black werewolf and led the army to rush directly up. The two sides have level and strength suppression. The battle was completely one-sided. After a few minutes, the enemy was completely wiped out. In the entire wild area, there were still some green-named players hiding on the edge, looking at them with great fear. Boss, should we kill those green-named players? Someone asked. Forget it, killing green-named players will not bring you merits, but will increase your sin value. Ye Chen waved his hand. One thing for another, he believed that most players in the neutral camp were pacifists. They just wanted to experience the fun of the game, and there was no need for him to embarrass them. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 398. Yechen led the army and walked along the neutral camp's 4th level wild area. WW Sim La. Meet countless neutral camp players along the way. Light, dark, neutral, these 3 camps. In fact, there are more players in the neutral camp, and there are more female players. Obviously, most of them are pacifists, they just want to experience the game happily. As for those belligerents, Yechen can fully imagine that the Merchant Alliance will unify them all one day to form a huge combat force. Seeing Yechen and others rushing around, many neutral camp players will change their positions. At that moment, Yechen looked at them again, they were red names. Just like the dark camp. Kill. As long as they are red names, kill them all. There is no punishment, but there are merit rewards. As for the green named players, they don't care at all. You know, although the players in the neutral camp can change their positions at any time, there is also a cooling time -30 minutes. So, it is easy to distinguish between enemies and friends. Enemies, don't let any of them go. When Yechen led the army to the neutral camp LV5 main city, a thunderous war cry suddenly came. Looking up, it was the demon army. Hey, you also came to the neutral camp, it seems that our ideas coincide, Yao sneered. His profession is a Taoist priest. He played the source of nightmare in the dark camp, but did not find the corresponding special effect warrior. So he wanted to come to the neutral camp to take a look. Not only for himself, he also needs to consider the main team and even the entire guild. After all, this version is the special effect warrior version. If there are more special effect warriors, the team's combat effectiveness will inevitably increase. It's just right, you are here too, let's put the base together and jointly resist the Merchant Alliance, Yechen smiled. I think so too, Yao said. The two coincided. Next, the Night God team and the Demon Army moved forward hand in hand and quickly captured a small town in the neutral camp LV5 main city. Unlike players, the NPCs in the neutral camp are neutral and will never change. In other words, Yechen, Yao, and others saw that all of them were green named NPCs. Killing them forcefully would deduct merit points, destroying the crystal would also deduct merit points. Yechen took on most of the task of capturing the town. After all, he was a lieutenant colonel with a terrifying amount of merit points. Deducting a few thousand points was not a big deal. After destroying the crystal, the dilapidated town was completely renewed, and Yechen became the mayor of the town. Buying land, half-price discount. Yechen directly bought a huge piece of land, and then the throne and the demon army built two ship-shaped bases next to each other. Yechen, I won't take advantage of you. The last ship-shaped base was given by you, and now I'm giving you one. Of course, it also has a built-in thick fog array, Yao snorted. Yechen nodded, looked up at the two ship-shaped bases next to each other, and smiled with satisfaction. At this stage, the intermediate base is easy to defend and difficult to attack. Now, the throne and the demon army have joined forces. I think, even if the neutral camp is the home of the Merchant Alliance, they want to take action, I am afraid they have to think about it first. The demon army left first, they were in a hurry to brush the dungeon. Yechen and others waited for a while, and Huowu came out of the ship-shaped base of the throne and joined the team. Huowu is the main force after all, and the current stage is the critical period for brushing special effect equipment. Yechen doesn't want her to miss it. As for the Fire Lion Island, many believers help Yechen brush fire energy, and it doesn't matter if Huowu is missing. And as Huowu joined the team again, another fire mage left sadly. There is no mercy to talk about. Since Yechen wants to build a king team, he naturally has strict requirements. The number of places is limited, so naturally the strong will enter and the inferior will be eliminated. Want to join the team? Improve your strength first. Let's go, we will also brush the dungeon. Yechen smiled, and the army headed towards the LV5 main city. The first kill of the neutral camp's level 50 dungeon had long been won by the Merchant Alliance, so there was no need to fight for anything. Everyone was not so nervous. Players of the light camp can also move freely in the main city of the neutral camp. Of course, they cannot use teleportation stones. So, Yechen and others could only march on foot, and it took more than 20 minutes to reach the LV5 main city. Then they followed the map and came directly to the door of the dungeon. The system found Touch of Nightmare, recognition add 50. As the system prompt sounded, Yechen led the team into the dungeon. Source of Nightmare and Touch of Nightmare were not much different in name. Let's test the water first, and there is no rush to divide into any teams. And Yechen knew that the Iron Warrior and the Wind Warrior, although they were also special effect warriors, were not targeted at skills. In other words, Lu Mang, the Holy Word Mage, would not play a big role. This Nightmare Touch has only 5 levels in total. The first level is the tall and mighty Iron Warrior, who is shiny black and looks like steel. It was a shield warrior, standing there calmly, with a sense of indestructibility and heaviness. This guy is even darker than Black People. Tank was shocked, but his expression was full of joy. Obviously, the opponent was a special effect warrior of the shield warrior, and Tank was yearning for it. However, he didn't know that the Iron Warrior was not only for shield warriors, but for all professions. In addition, he is not simply black, but shiny black. Shiny black. This is the special effect of the ultimate Iron Warrior, which is the 9-piece suit. Only when the player becomes the ultimate Iron Warrior, he will be as shiny black as him, as if hardened and indestructible, hard. Iron Man. A real man. Iron Warrior, Lazy, Lord. Level 58. HP 120000//120000. Skills: Shield Strike, Parry, Weaken Weapon, Iron Wall, Elemental Designation, Earthquake. Talent: Thunder and Lightning. Notes: Lazy's heroic personality in his dream. This guy, how can I say it, he is so handsome. Tank stared at Lazy with his eyes fixed, Zaoshian.c, and rubbed his hands hurriedly. The expressions of the other shield warriors were the same as Tank's. It was obvious that this Iron Warrior made them very yearning. Yechen smiled slightly. Although the Iron Warrior has no occupational restrictions, since the official chose to let the Shield Warrior be the spokesperson, it also indirectly indicates that the Shield Warrior is the most suitable for the Iron Warrior. Yechen actually wants to become this Iron Warrior. After all, he is really handsome, and if he becomes an Iron Warrior, his combat power will also increase. But he will not compete with Tank. After all, the Shield Warrior is the most suitable. Tank's strength has seriously declined since the Black Turtle shield was exploded, and Yechen also wants to train him quickly. After all, the Shield Warrior is very important. In addition, Yechen has a domineering body and fighting spirit, and his defense is not lacking at this stage. In addition to the Iron Warrior, this Touch of Nightmare also has a Wind Warrior, which is endorsed by the Thief. In other words, if Yechen becomes a Wind Warrior, the increase will definitely be greater than that of the Iron Warrior. 015. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wangshi-san. Chapter 399. Defeat me, and you can enter the next level. W.Simon.Lol. smiled nonchalantly, which showed his extreme confidence. Roar. The whole group roared, the warriors charged, and the ranged professions such as mages and archers focused their fire. -98. -126. -320. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow dot. -97. -36. In the thick sea of fire and explosion, Lazy E stood there without moving, and very small damage appeared on his head. After a round of concentrated fire, Lazy E's 1.2 million HP only dropped a little. It can be seen that his defense is terrible. Damn, this Iron Warrior is really my taste. Tank trembled with excitement. Swoosh. Suddenly a red light flashed, and Yechen activated the Blood Blade and rushed over. After all, the opponent was just a shield warrior, not a big threat, and it would take a little time to knock him down. And Yechen was the one with the most explosive damage in the entire team. Stun. Spinning stab. Killing. -8,200. -10,200. -10,200. -48,900. Hiss. Yechen's combo was over, and the whole audience was shocked. Yechen and the whole team were shocked by the low damage. After all, Yechen's general attack broke 30,000, and the finishing move was hundreds of thousands, but now a whole set of skills and finishing moves, it was only more than 70,000. On the other side, Lazy E was also shocked. However, his shock was different from everyone else's. "This kid can actually break my defense," Lazy E said coldly. The cold eyes stared at Yechen, but at this moment Yechen was paralyzed by Lazy E's talent, lightning, unable to move. Taking advantage of this time, Lazy E gave Yechen 2 BFFs, and the weapon was weakened. Elemental designation. These 2 BFFs are not amplification BFFs. At this moment, Yechen's weapon was weakened, causing the red flame dagger to be like scrap metal. The duration is 3 seconds. And the elemental designation made Yechen's fire attribute attack become a light attribute attack. The duration is 60 seconds. Such a rich flame energy, kid, your fire strength is probably several hundred, Lazy E sneered, but now, your attack attribute has become a light attribute. Soon, Yechen woke up from paralysis, knocked off a bottle of anti-paralysis potion, and attacked again. -420. -432. -417. In an instant, Yechen's damage dropped by more than 10 times. Boss, everyone was anxious. What a joke, the boss's damage has dropped to this level. For a moment, everyone's eyes were red. The edge of the red flame dagger was broken, and the texture disappeared, just like scrap metal. On it, there was a layer of white light, and there was a faint flash of lightning. Before that, it was red. Yechen looked at the red flame dagger in his hand and couldn't help being stunned. I really didn't expect that the damage that I was proud of would be so low today. With a stern look in his eyes, Yechen attacked more and more frantically, and the front row of soldiers also surrounded Lazy E and beat him violently. However, Lazy E didn't move. Savage collision. This skill with the knockback effect was useless to Lazy E. Iron Warrior, or this Lazy E, is too perverted. Yechen sighed secretly. Ordinary players who become Iron Warriors, even extreme Iron Warriors, will not be perverted to this extent. After all, this Lazy E is a lord, with a HP of 1.2 million, and a talent for thunder and lightning. Yechen can't do much damage, let alone others. Great earthquake. Lazy E suddenly moved, roared, and slammed down the huge steel shield. The next moment, a huge vibration occurred within a radius of 5 yards, and the land seemed to explode. All players within the range were unstable and staggered. Wow! Suddenly, lightning exploded, and everyone within a radius of 5 yards, including Yechen, was killed. Hiss, this guy's lightning talent is not only passive, but also active attack is still effective. And the damage is really humming high. Big Fried Chicken said with a tut. He was not worried that Yechen would die in battle. After all, Yechen still had passive resurrection. The next moment, Yechen stood up again, and Lazy E's eyes were stern, and he gave Yechen an element designation again. So, Yechen's attack became a light attribute attack again. This element designation lasts for 1 minute, but the cooldown time is only 5 seconds. It can be designated at will. Originally, this skill was not powerful, and was far less powerful than the weapon weakening. However, Yechen's firepower is too high, and he is quite dependent on it. At this moment, the firepower is invalid, and the damage is reduced by 7 times. His damage is reduced by 7 times, and Xiao Hei's damage is also reduced by 7 times. Combined as a whole, it is reduced by 14 times in total. Previously, Yechen's red flame dagger was weakened by the weapon, and the base was also lowered, so naturally there was no damage to speak of. Mute. Elemental designation. Earthquake. 2 white lights fell on Lazy E, and the next moment, his 2 skills were sealed. At the same time, the red flame dagger in Yechen's hand finally returned to its original appearance. At this time, Yechen's damage finally returned. A normal attack is about 3000 per knife, although it is still not high, but it is much better than the previous 400. Yechen activated his fighting spirit and continued to beat him violently, with 1 skill exceeding 10,000. Lazy E gradually felt threatened, and slapped out his giant shield strike. Lazy E slapped out his giant shield, and there was a faint sound of thunder roaring. It was obvious that his attack also had lightning talent. However, in terms of speed, Yechen was much faster than him. Before the shield strike came, Yechen even had time to dance a dazzling sword flower with the red flame dagger on his fingertips, and then gently cut it over, but a slight touch on the shield surface triggered a shadow attack. The next moment, Yechen's figure turned into a residual image, and he came behind Lazy E at a speed that was almost teleporting. His eyes were stern, and the red flame dagger slashed down fiercely. Strong attack. Swish voila. Yechen slashed on Lazy E's back armor with a knife, sparks flew, and the sound of metal clashing was heard. Then there was a click, and his chest armor actually broke. You know, Yechen's powerful attack level 12, when hitting the enemy's equipment, has a 12% chance of directly destroying the opponent's equipment. And Xiao Hei used W.Zaisha. At the same time, with a 24% chance. This probability is not high, but it is not low. This directly triggered the effect and destroyed Lazy E's chest armor. It doesn't matter if Lazy E's chest armor is destroyed, but his ultimate steel warrior is disillusioned. At this time, everyone was shocked to find that Lazy E's shiny black luster gradually disappeared. Not long after, a guy with normal skin color appeared. How is this possible? Lazy E looked at his hands in horror. They were originally shiny black, but now they have turned into ordinary skin color. 9-piece set, Steel Warrior special effect equipment, 1 piece was destroyed. That kind of black and shiny steel pure man special effect disappeared. Not only the special effect, in fact, the Steel Warrior and the Wind Warrior have the 9-piece set effect. At this moment, Lazy E also lost this effect. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 400. This is impossible, this is impossible. Lazy E murmured to himself, looking panicked. Sim La. In the dream, he is a powerful steel warrior who is invulnerable, indestructible, and indestructible. However, he did not expect that someone could destroy his equipment. Swish, brush, brush. Minus 12,502. Minus 13,200. Minus 12,900. Yechen started attacking wildly, and was surprised to find that the damage had exceeded 10,000 again. One skill was even tens of thousands more, and the finishing move, Pierce the Heart, directly dealt nearly 300,000 damage. Just destroying a piece of equipment, the damage of the Big Brother has been directly increased by 3 to 4 times. Tank boss, I suspect that this Iron Warrior has the effect of the 9-piece set, and it is extremely powerful. Big Fried Chicken said in shock. The tank had been hung up, but the body was still on the ground. Although he couldn't speak, he could still hear the sound, and he was immediately ecstatic. The stronger the Iron Warrior is, the happier he is. At this time, Lazy E seemed to be wilting and became extremely weak. Yuchin's damage has been restored by more than half, and everyone's damage has also been restored by more than half. Although he still couldn't hit Lazy E, and was sometimes paralyzed by lightning, it was a fact that Lazy E's HP was dropping. A minute later, Lazy E's eyes showed disbelief, his life passed away, and he collapsed to the ground. Huh! Everyone breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. Lazy E's earthquake had killed many people instantly, and now there were only 450 people left in the team. Look what equipment exploded, someone shouted. Hearing this, everyone suddenly became interested. The Iron Warriors were too powerful, especially the Ultra Steel Warriors, who were simply incredibly powerful. They wanted to see what kind of special effects equipment this Iron Warrior would unleash. Yachen also lowered his eyes and looked over, but it was a black steel shield. Lai's Fantasy War Shield, gold quality / set. Level 55. Physical defense add 1820. Magic defense add 1500. Strength add 150. Physical strength add 150. Hard add 120. Special effect defense add 10%. Note, this item is not tradable. 9-piece set attributes. Hard add 500. Defense add 50%. Note, the whole body is black and hardened. It turns out to be golden equipment. Could it be that the Iron Warrior and the Black Knight Captain are both golden warriors? There was a sound of astonishment. Hearing this, Yechen couldn't laugh or cry. These guys really had random names. Seeing that the special effects equipment was gold equipment, they called them Golden Warriors. However, Yechen knew that the Steel Warrior was very special, and his only weapon was golden equipment. The other 8 pieces are just purple. Of course, since this Iron Warrior is common to all professions, there are weapons for all professions. Even mages have them, and of course mages generally don't have the trouble to play Iron Warrior. In addition, 5 pieces of clothing among the 8 pieces of equipment are actually armors, but the notes say that the equipment is not tradable and is common to all professions. You must know that every profession in Dream World has its corresponding equipment. For example, thieves or assassins can only wear leather armor. Other equipment cannot be worn. The same goes for other professions, you can only wear corresponding equipment. But the special effects equipment of Iron Warrior and Zephyr Warrior are not specific to professions. Since the equipment is not specific to professions, it is easy to get an 8-piece set. The most important thing is the weapon. If you are unlucky, you may not be able to use it for a year or 2. This tank was so lucky that it immediately produced weapons. Haha, shield. Not long after, Xiaoro used the resurrection technique to revive Tank. Tank picked up the shield and almost jumped up with excitement. Because this Lai's Fantasy Battle Shield is level 55 equipment, tanks cannot equip it now and can only play with it in their hands. After a moment, he hesitated and said, hardness. What level of stiffness is 120 points? Hearing this, everyone frowned. Now everyone knows what the attribute of stiffness is. It has the effects of resistance to breaking moves, resistance to stiffness, resistance to knockdown and knockback. When it reaches a certain level, it becomes the Yaba body. So, is 120 points considered high or low? Seeing everyone's hesitation and no one speaking, Tank scratched his head anxiously. To be honest, he really wanted to equip the steel shield now and then withstand Yuchin's attack to see if he would be repulsed. Unfortunately, he is not level enough now to equip it. Yuchen smiled and said, it's considered high. Generally, even if the level 50 purple equipment increases the stiffness, it will only increase by 10 points. Generally, even if the level 50 gold equipment increases the stiffness, it will only increase by 30 points. Hearing this, Tank was overjoyed. Is this more than high? It's simply super high. Tisk, tisk, no wonder the steel warrior is so powerful. Tank looked at the steel shield in his hand, feeling secretly happy. A battle shield increases stiffness by 120 points, and a 9-piece set adds 500 stiffness points. Who can beat this? Yes, the Iron Warriors are indeed powerful. If Boss Yeshen hadn't destroyed one of Lazy E's equipment, causing its defense to plummet, we might not know how long we would have to fight. Yeah, Boss Yagamai is really awesome. He actually has the ability to destroy equipment. 666, Boss Yeshen is the most attractive. After a while, the topic was diverted by everyone, and everyone focused on Yeshen at the same time. They wanted to know what effect Yeshen's strong attack had. Boss Yeshen, what is the effect of your skill? What is the probability of destroying equipment? Everyone asked with interest. Strong attack, currently LV12, has a 12% effect of destroying equipment. Maybe this probability will increase as the skill level increases. Yeshen laughed. He didn't dare to expose Xiao Hei's existence. His 12% probability of destroying equipment? That's great, Boss Yeshen, don't you have a lot of skill points? Just go straight up, everyone urged. Yeshen's heart moved. There is no doubt that this strong attack is very abnormal. In the previous life, Yeshen had never heard of a skill that can destroy equipment. And this destruction probability directly follows the level, regardless of the grade of the equipment. Even if it is a magic weapon, once the effect is triggered, it will still be destroyed. In the future, when brushing bosses, starting with strong attack is a very good choice, Yeshen secretly thought. Once the strong attack triggers the effect, if it is equipment, whether it is a divine weapon or something else, it will be directly destroyed. Many bosses are beasts, and they don't have so-called equipment. But the strong attack triggers the effect, cutting through the tough fur, and the boss's defense is reduced. Breaking the teeth and claws of the beast, the boss's attack power is reduced. This effect is the same as destroying the equipment. Of course, this prerequisite is that the level of the strong attack is high enough and the probability of destroying the equipment is high enough. Brother, how many skill points do you have now? I also think you should try the strong attack, Big Fried Chicken said. Hearing this, Yeshen glanced at his skill points and was shocked when he saw it. Hiss, I actually have 68 skill points. Yeshen himself was shocked. Unknowingly, I actually saved up 68 skill points. 015.